Hello, I'm Kiara Gizzi and welcome to InViewTV. I am here with my wonderful, handsome, talented, stunning, amazing co-host, Mr. William Broome and Mr. Michael El-Basha. Yay!
Yay! Fabulous! And we are also very, very delighted and thrilled to have you, Kiara, join us, myself and William, being the only female and the hottest and the prettiest.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's debatable.
And then there's Michael and me. It's an honour to have you.
Yes.
Thanks, Kiara.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
an honour.
We are so excited to be here with you guys today, and we're going to share a little bit about InViewTV with you, and also you might learn a little bit about us too.
Be warned.
We're going to dig deep here, people. We're going to dig real deep. So let's start with you, Michael. What makes you passionate about InViewTV, and what brings you to our team?
Well, absolutely. I'm passionate about acting as a platform for others, for their voice to be heard. And this is a great way of showcasing their talents and what they do and giving them that platform. And for me, personally, it makes me so excited and I'm thrilled, and it's all from the heart with me, with their stories. There's so many stories out there that in there with the community that need to be told, and that's what drives me to be one of the hosts on this show.
I love it, and I totally agree. I think there are so many stories out there to be told, and it's such a great honour to be able to sit here and share those stories with you guys, our viewers. And what about you, William? What brings you here? What are you passionate about in terms of InViewTV?
It's a good question, actually. I echo all the sentiments that Michael's given. But for me, it's also because I'm a very nosy person. I'm very curious about life, and I'm curious about people's stories. And it gives me that excuse to go out there, speak with people, learn about their lives, but also, like Michael, use it as a platform to share people's stories, share people's experiences, because there's a story in everyone's lives. There's a story on every block, as they say. And it's important to get them out there, because when we all go, those stories go. So if you're out there, share your story.
I totally agree. And I actually think that stories are kind of what is the fabric of what makes up a society. And often there are stories that go untold, but when they are revealed, we find that we actually empathize with them. So you might think that your story is unique or unusual, or that something you've been through is difficult or painful and that no one else has experienced it. But actually, when you're vulnerable enough to share that with the world, you find that it resonates with so many different people. And that's what I love about storytelling as well.
Absolutely. Look, I have to agree with you too, Kiara and William. And I've got a vulnerable story that I have shared on the platform of my memoir being released. And I know how important that platform was for me.
Why don't you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm an author. I'm an Australian Christian background, and I'm the first to come out and share my story and be brave enough to do so in the form of a memoir being released, which is Oh My God, Am I Right? And to help others, to save lives, because I was going through that hard patch with
What was the hard patch?
depression and a suicide moment. I went to take my life because I was different to what the culture or the religion.
What culture?
Lebanese Christian background, and me being gay, and me running away from that. So I shared that story, and only because I was saved. And thanks to my son, 13-year-old saved me by saying "I love you" to Dad with a text message. And I'm here to tell my tale, so I'm here to save others as well and others' lives. So
It's a beautiful book, Michael.
Thank you
It really
so
is. I've
much.
read it. It's very poignant. It's very open, and it's very honest. You should be proud.
Thank you. There's a film happening in the
Yay.
background. So
Exciting.
yeah, it's very exciting. But yeah, thank you. And I found it, for me to get out there on that platform was very nice that I was accepted in many of these articles and shows on TV. Now I want to act as that platform for others to shine their story, whatever it is.
And you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you
absolutely.
do. It's that vulnerability and that courage that, like we said, it encourages others, and it's almost like it's so terrifying, isn't it? Like when you want to share, but it's absolutely terrifying. I know even if I'm just doing a vulnerable social media post or something like that, I'm always like, oh, do I actually want to share this? But then when you do and you get that response, and not that you do it for the feedback, obviously you do it for your own reasons, but in the end we are in this together. It's a community
Yeah.
The world is, you know, we need to care about each other and connect with each other, and I feel like, you know, that's what it's all about, and we get to do that by sharing our stories. And what about you, William?
For me, there is a vulnerability. I spent many years interviewing people. They've opened up about their lives, their stories. It's only when you're actually being interviewed, well, in my case anyway, you actually realize that, oh my goodness, I'm about to share details of my life. And there is that vulnerability. I've always loved interviewing people. It's my passion, and hearing about their lives and their stories. But being interviewed about my own life is a whole different kettle of fish, and it might sound hypocritical, but it's not. That's why I love doing the interviewing. So today I do feel, I won't say anything controversial, but there is that vulnerability.
Absolutely.
So I hope that I can do my own story justice.
Absolutely, and I think what I love about InViewTV is, you know, we're heart-centered people. We all, you know, we come from the heart, and we want to share from the heart, and we want to make sure that we find stories that are from the heart. So you recently became an Australian citizen, William.
Thank you so much. I'm Australian, fair dinkum, mate.
So proud to have.
Okay. What's your favourite Aussie slang?
Bloke.
Oh, should be right, mate.
Yeah.
You're flying in galah.
Well, can I just say, you got emotional.
Okay,
Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this. Okay, so I've been to funerals, weddings, vigils, rallies. I've always held it together. I've always been very British, stiff upper lip. I go to my citizenship ceremony. The jazz band plays Waltzing Matilda. I tear up. They then play I Am Australian by the Seekers. I'm in floods. It took 42 years for me at a public event to show tears. They were tears of joy.
Wow.
They were tears that after all these years of wanting to become Australian, that it finally happened. It was a dream. And people say, you must have been so happy, you must have been so joyous. It's very hard to explain how I felt, because I felt very contemplative, I felt very reflective, and it was almost like my life flashed in front of me. I was thinking of the people I left behind in England, where I'm from. I was thinking about the people I have in my life here. I was thinking about relationships, friendships with individuals and organisations. And then I'm thinking about the future and where do I go? I've got the rest of my life ahead of me. And when your biggest dream, and it was my biggest dream, is to become Australian, the second one was to live in Australia, it comes true. You suddenly think to yourself, I don't have a dream anymore. I need to develop a new dream. So you feel so complete, but then there's this strange feeling of emptiness. And I hope I can fill that void. I don't want to sound negative. It's great, and it's a valuable thinking tool, but it's made me very thoughtful.
Oh, you're beautiful, William.
Oh, you're too kind.
Wow.
And Kiara, you've got a story as well.
Yes, I'm sure.
You're empowering other women, and it's nice to have you on InView.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Can you share some of that?
Sure, we all have, like I said, we all have our story, and you know, I've faced my own challenges in my life, and I feel like as an actress and a presenter and a storyteller and producer, I have an opportunity to take the difficulties that I've faced in my own life with health and difficult relationships and just challenges. I can help to transmute that into something positive. And I know there are plenty of women out there that struggle with their own inner demons, and men too. It's not exclusive to women. We've all got our challenges. But I really think that storytelling is, you know, it's as old as time.
Yes.
You know, all of the indigenous, you know, people of the world have all used stories as a way to heal and a way to inspire others. And I really hope that, well, I believe that that's my purpose. And it's a great honour to be able to sort of do that in some small way.
That is so beautiful to be able to use your struggles as a platform, but the strengths you have too to help and support others. Beautiful.
And that's why one of the things that you are an actor and that you want to bring those stories to life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, as an actor, it's the deepest thing that you do really is to understand human behaviour. And you have a deep empathy and compassion for the human condition in all its glory and all its misery. And to be able to tell those stories and bring life to those stories is really, Yeah, it's pretty special.
Wonderful.
That's beautiful. And William, I've got to ask you too.
Go
You're
on,
working on
go
a
for
book
it.
at the moment.
I
And you're an
am.
LGBTQI leader and advocate. You're an actor as well. You've done so many wonderful things, and I'm so honoured to have you
Thank you.
as part of one of my fellow.
I learn a
hosts.
lot from you, Michael.
I know.
You're a
That's
leader,
so sweet.
Kiara's a leader. And we're
Yeah.
all leaders in our own way,
Yeah,
which I think
yeah.
is beautiful.
Beautiful. How's it all going? How's the story, the book going? And
So I have to tell you very briefly,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do a plug here, but for the last 3.5, 4 years, I've been working on a book about a person called Stan Munro, who was the compeer of lay girls in Sydney and Melbourne for many years. It's his biography, although it's written as the first person, so it's really an autobiography. And I'm kind of like the ghostwriter, but I'm also a co-author. And it's been a lot of work, it's been a learning experience. But the strangest thing is, you've heard the term method acting?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I studied method acting as part of one of my...
Well, then you are the perfect
Yeah,
person
it's-
to understand it.
wow.
It's really something.
When you write a book, it's very similar. In the first person, you have to get inside somebody's mind and their head. And I've had to think like Stan. It's strange. Some of the memories he's had, I've been over and written so many times in different drafts that they've become my own memories. So I feel like I was at Les Girls in the 60s and 70s. And when I read things, I think, I remember that. And I realise, no, I wasn't
No,
there. Stan was there. But it really is a form of method acting. But it's been a wonderful learning experience because I've had to learn. It's similar to having a partner. You learn how somebody else thinks. You learn to compromise, but you also get a different perspective. So the book about Stan Munro, Queen of the Valleys, should be out next year. Please do go and buy it.
Hey.
We'll be at the launch.
I hope there's a launch. There will be. Come along. All invited.
We love a party.
Well, I'm very excited to be part of InView TV because our plan is to be circling around Australia for 12 months and going to rural areas and getting the stories from these rural areas from all around Australia and putting them on this world platform. I'm excited about that. I'm sure
Me
you
too,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's crucial because a lot of the stories we get in Australia, you just have to put on the news, are Sydney, Melbourne. You might get Brisbane, very occasionally Adelaide, Perth tends to get ignored, Canberra, well, obviously the capital. And it's crucial to share regional Australian stories too, because we are a huge country, something like 24 million people. And those stories need to be told, not just those of us who are privileged and honoured enough to live in the major cities.
Absolutely.
100%.
Totally agree. Thank you so much for tuning in to InViewTV and for getting to know us, your hosts. We can't wait to bring you the best of Australian stories from all over the country. Thank you, William.
Thank you so much, Kiara.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Kiara.
And
Thank you, William.
And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Of just doing what they do, hustling the likes of me and you, talking aloud at us to choose the noblest of things in life's pursuits. It goes around and around.